Hey everyone, it's Gavin with Haversick Designs. We're here at Legacy Soundworks in Cincinnati, Ohio. We're gonna go check out the space. All right, I'm here today with Scott, Eric, and Brent Sheppard from Legacy Soundworks in Cincinnati, Ohio. Thanks so much for allowing us to be here and to tour your beautiful space.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I know that you'd found out about us from like Mix Magazine and talking to your Sweetwater rep Patrick Dennis, which I know helps you out with a lot of your gear.
Yeah.
But I think it's 2019 maybe when we first started talking. I know you had some sketches of what you wanted to do in this space, and we were looking at it earlier today, and it actually isn't that far off from what we actually did. With this space, you've got this control room that we're sitting in. You've also got a really large live room, which sounds beautiful, and you can do a lot of instrumentation all at once in there. You have a kind of an isolation drum booth. You could put other instruments in there as well.
Yeah, it's big enough for a grand piano if we wanted to.
Yeah. And then there's the vocal booth and an amp room. And so it's pretty much got everything that you need.
Yeah, one of each.
Yeah. And here we are.
There it is. Wow. Seems like you guys have a lot of different instruments in here.
Keys world, absolutely. We've got a couple of nice pianos that we use for different purposes. We got the Yamaha over here. It's a brighter piano, darker piano over here with the Kauai Grand. We've got a Hammond C3 behind the Yamaha. Got a Fender Rhodes Stage 88. It's a Mark I. We've got a Retro Flyer preamp in there that gives us the stereo warbling tremolo thing, which is really sweet.
The Leslie gets used a lot.
Yeah, Leslie we can use, of course, for the Hammond, but also for really anything else you want to amplify. We also do, anything we want a big sound from. So a lot of acoustic instruments in here. But yeah, the room sounds really great. I like to put up high mics in here and get away with not using reverb.
It's set up in a way that you could have a full band in just this room alone, which I think is wonderful. But then you have like a lot of variance depending on where you place instruments in the room, and acoustical treatment is designed to aid in that, to make sure that it's not just the same sound in different locations.
We love this bamboo floor too, because it allows us to pull up rugs and create a liver sound if we need to.
We got the drum room over here too. You got the big telescoping doors from soundproofwindows.com. That's something we like to use in a lot of our designs because it just gives you not only a wide path to be able to bring in instruments, like you could bring in guitars, or loading in drums is super easy that way, but then provides the amount of isolation you need between these two rooms, so you can have someone going full bore in there and not being picked up on the microphones in here. So speaking about the isolation, that was one of our big goals, and we modeled these wall systems and different things, partitions that we put inside the space to make sure they're going to allow you to monitor at decent levels while you're also tracking at the same time. That's super important to have that flexibility, because there's so many studios that don't get the isolation piece right, and then suddenly you're having to monitor on headphones all the time.
I've actually gotten pretty heinous with the monitoring level in here a couple of times. And yeah, not having to monitor on headphones and deal with like the live bleed of the band in the same room as you, especially with miking drums, I feel like the results are just so much better, and it's a huge luxury to be able to do that.
And I know that also we can open up the doors and put mics out in this main room while you're tracking inside of there.
Yeah, you put a mic in front of that window over there. It sounds huge.
Yeah.
It's great.
We've even had an engineer put like a 58 in between the doors, and had this really dirty, crunchy kind of sound that really. Yeah, had a nasty kind of growl to it.
No
it was
way.
It was a really cool idea. He had this one closed, and then the outside one, as close as you can get it with the mic cable coming through. Yeah, and just crank the gain on it, and yeah, it comes up with a really wild sound.
We've got a fire station right next door, and we have a train basically across the street, and we're not getting any problems with any of that. The train, particularly because of the U-boats that are under the floor.
Yeah.
Because it's a floating floor,
Mm-hmm.
as you know.
Yeah.
You design it. So all that is working very well.
Yeah, that was really key for us. Like when you first showed me the location of where this was going to go, one of the first things I always do is just open up Google Maps and I search for things that could be potentially loud, like, you know, if there's a regional airport that's close or train tracks, for instance. But yeah, with proper techniques, you know, the nice thing is the outside of the building is all concrete block, which is a huge start. It doesn't take care of everything, but after that, we built room within a room in each of these spaces.
And it's filled with sand, too.
Yeah. So it's, you know, mass is the name of the game, and we have a lot of it in this space.
Yeah, I'll walk out of this building sometimes, and it'll be absolutely pouring rain, cats and dogs,
and we don't
lightning.
Even know it.
No idea.
You know, we've got these heavy-duty doors, communicating door systems in different places. You know, you've got double-paned windows, like the standard stuff that we do in these studios to isolate things.
Mm-hmm.
But then after everything's isolated properly, you have to make it sound good, you know.
Right.
And a lot of the acoustical treatment, you guys built a lot of it yourself.
Right.
You know, which have you ever done anything like that before?
Nope.
Yeah. And so, yeah, in here, you know, we've got a lot of different types of treatments. We have the Orlex T-fusers on the ceiling, which help with just general scattering and making sure that it sounds really wide for any overhead mics or room mics you'd put up in here. The acoustical fulfillment Flex 48 adaptive treatment system that is in on a couple of the walls here. And so all 7 of those panels, you can either add or remove a shield to liven up the room or deaden the room. And so that gives this room just ultimate flexibility to be able to you know, record whatever you want in here. I know drums is kind of the main thing, but you've got a piano, you can do acoustic guitar, pretty much anything in this space. Custom soffitted bass trap around the perimeter. We also have some absorber panels here on the walls. They're on cleat systems, so you can easily take them off and change the way the room sounds too. But it's really nice. It's like controlled but not overly dead, and gives you, you know, a lot of versatility.
For sure.
I mean, there's a lot of like custom elements that needed to be built, and you guys did a great job with that. There's, you know, the soffit bass traps that we do in a lot of our designs. You can see in these rooms as well, just making use of that wall ceiling juncture to trap some of the lower frequencies, and also gives you opportunity to put some recessed lights into them, and aesthetically it looks nice, and it's a lot to build. Like sometimes you look at a plan, you're like, oh, okay, I can crank that out over a couple weekends, but it just takes a long time.
There's a lot of little tiny things that you would never think about until you're halfway done with it.
Yeah, sure. There's companies out there that this is all they do, and they work with stretch fabric systems, and they build out treatments and things like that. But if you also able to do it yourself, you save a lot of money that way, and you also can have pride in the fact that, like, hey, I did this whole thing, you know, pretty much ourselves.
It's also the understanding of how it all works and just being comfortable doing it. So, like, since building the treatments here, Eric's built, you know, gobos and stuff. It's as much about saving money as it is about educating yourself and understanding the process and being able to use it for other applications you might want down the road.
While you're building this, I'm sure you're listening to music and things like that. You can, or hearing the differences that are happening in real time as you're building things.
Yeah, as we put each individual like sheet of rock wool insulation in these, you know, we're listening on the Bluetooth speaker when this is still a concrete floor, and yeah, I mean, even through the course of a few hours, you know, you'd notice in the insulation treatment portion of it for sure. One
thing you guys were telling me about that you did in here, I hadn't seen it yet, but the new amp room. The amp room was here before, but you guys had a great idea by adding the mic collection in there as well.
So I'll take you through our mic selection a little bit. We've got our Neumann KM 184s. These are our go-to for everything from getting a wide stereo image to throwing them on a piano or even a guitar amp. They're just kind of great all-around small condenser microphones. We have these SM81s. We love them for drum overheads particularly. Another couple of pairs that we have is our AKG C414s. We've got kind of a smattering of other dynamic and large condenser microphones. We've got our fathead ribbon microphones. Those are really great for like kind of a crunchy, dirty sound. We use those, we actually have them here on our Drip Edge Fender Deluxe Reverb. This is from 1969. This amp sounds amazing. We have a bunch of different kinds of drum mics. These MD421s are great, tom mics, MD504s, a bunch of kick drum mics in the back there. This 441 is great for everything from a snare drum to a guitar amp to a vocal microphone, another flavor of that. We've got the classic Shure SM7B.
Just having this wood shelf around with these quick connect mics, great idea. That was really cool.
What we've got set up right now is the Chandler Red. This is a tube microphone. It's actually got the tube preamp inside the capsule here. This preamp channel is designed after the Abbey Road Red preamp. We've got a couple more Neumanns. This is our M149. This is a great all-around microphone, very natural sounding, very kind of warm, vintage kind of sound. It's not a vintage microphone, but it has that sound. It's also got all the polar patterns, so we use it for everything, really. And then the classic Neumann 87. That is just another, you know, if you need something to sound good, just put one of these two up and you're gonna have a great time.
Early on, when we first started doing the design, we always start in 2-dimension. Like we're doing CAD drawings and doing layouts and things like that. And you had done a sketch early on and showed us that. And so we kind of took that vision and put it into optimizing room dimensions and shape and sight lines and all of that. And then once we got that working, so we partnered with Made Architects and Midwest Church Design and Construction, who helped with the architecture piece of this, and then also constructing a lot of the isolation pieces of things. And that's a huge help for us to get plans ready for permitting. Because that's anytime you build a structure like this, there's permits involved, and another thing to slow down the process a little bit.
Yeah, we had to go through a zoning process because of being too close to a border line of another property, which I happen to own too. So what's it matter? But no, we have to go through all that, Right. There's a lot of things like that we had to go through.
This space is more, we kind of designed it to be more of a dead sounding room. Just trying to get clean vocals and anything that you want to be way more controlled.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of these panels that you see in here. I think almost all of them are things that you guys built yourself.
I remember at one time during the process, I was complaining about something, and my wife said, "Well, you're the one that wanted to build a studio." And I said, "I didn't want to build a studio. I wanted to have a studio."
Yeah. I really also like the couch in here. It's just the whole vibe of the studio is very comfortable, and it feels like there's not a lot of pressure. Even though it's like a very top-level professional studio, it doesn't feel that way.
That was something that we were conscious of the whole time. We were going to make a top-notch place, but we didn't want it to feel intimidating, because especially around here in Cincinnati, maybe a lot of the local artists haven't had experience in a studio like this, so we didn't really want that. We wanted to everyone to feel comfortable when they walked in here and kind of make it as at home as they could and conducive creatively. So so having enough space in here to put a couch, guitar stands, just to make it feel comfortable. We can bring in mood lighting in here, whatever we want to do for people to feel good. Yeah,
that's great. One of the challenges when we were building this space is that you had kind of a footprint that we wanted to try to stick within, but one of the big things was trying to get all the sight lines while not compromising the acoustics of each room. That's always kind of a little puzzle that we're trying to put together.
Yeah,
right.
But I think we nailed it. It's really, really nice as far as the sight lines go.
We've had a lot of comments on that. Eric had a session where he was running in here where I think there were 4 different instruments and only one of them was in the live room. 2 people were in the live room because the guitar player was in there, but the amp was in the amp booth. And so everything was separate, even though they were all playing together at the same time. So it was pretty neat.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Try to do it that way if I can. Just like to keep everything isolated. It's easier for me later, for sure.
Man, what an awesome control room. I mean, you've got great amount of volume, a lot of space in here. Adequate, more than adequate bass trapping, because we've got these large soffits that go around the room. Back wall is about 12 inches deep. Vertical corner traps in all four corners. And the sidewall, while it is all glass, it's angled in such a way that it's not a first reflection point, and so sound goes off of it and goes towards the back of the room where it can be treated. These PMC speakers sound amazing. You also have Genelecs and a set of JBLs as well, so you have a lot of different monitoring that you can use in here. And
we'll even monitor. We've got speakers hung in the live room, and we'll switch those on and listen out there too.
Sure, yeah. You can never have too many speakers. We've got this awesome producer desk from American Woodworking, who also did the diffusers on the back wall. They just do beautiful work, and we wanted something kind of custom back here that would be comfortable for multiple people to sit at, but then also have some rack gear. Which required us to do a lot of conduit underneath the concrete. And so there's lines running everywhere so that we don't have to have cables running along the floor that would be tripping hazards, and it's just beautifully done. It's really, really awesome. So Scott, tell me a little bit about the gear that you have in here, maybe some of your favorite pieces and why you chose some of those things.
Yeah, so we're running a universal audio system. We have 3 Apollos right now. We're actually probably gonna add a 4th pretty soon. So right now we have 24 channels of conversion and universal audio preamps. We have a couple of Neve preamps as well, Elysia, a couple of tube preamps, La Chapelle Audio. So that gives us a lot of flavor, that gives us a lot of versatility, and we're always looking to add and expand more, but this is kind of our starting point.
I know one of the things in the other rooms that was really important for us to do was try to make sure this space was really flexible. Like there's something where you didn't just have one sound you could go to, and that shows itself in the live room with even like how some of the panels are spaced along a wall, to where sometimes it's more absorptive and the panel spacing is closer, where it will open up to be more reflective space in between the panels down towards the end of the wall, allowing you to just like move instruments around and kind of play with the acoustics of the space. And the drum room as well, the same thing. We have like the Flex 48s from Acoustical Fulfillment in there, allowing you to add and remove the shields to be able to play with the ambience of the room. Just overall, it just seems like you're not wanting for anything when you come to the studio. Like you could get whatever sound you wanted.
Yeah, and that was really important to us from the very beginning, from multiple standpoints. We wanted to be able to get any kind of sound you want, particularly in the drum room with those Flex 48s. Drums are so hard to record and to mix in the first place. When you can make the room have that extra little brightness or that real tight sound, it's when you can do it for real, it really keeps things moving faster down the line. So, and as far as versatility goes, being able, like we were talking about with isolation before, and our sight lines, that really allows any kind of recording technique you want to do to really be available. So, and we've used all of them, and it's all the ones that we can think of, at least. maybe others can think of more techniques, but yeah, it's
got
been
some on the schedule.
It's been great. It's been really great.
The next thing I want to show, which maybe is not as glamorous as this room, is the storage space that's over there. You can never have enough storage space.
That's right.
Yes.
And we made sure that we had adequate storage space in here. However, you could even use more than this.
Especially when we were building, had a lot of tools in here.
Yeah, this space, I mean, it's got these loading doors here, which would be great for when bands come in and be able to go straight to the live room.
It's also ADA compliant, and the restroom is as well, so we can bring somebody in in a wheelchair. And
nice. Yeah, that's great. I know originally we had talked about in that space in the back, like maybe doing another amp room back there.
The conduit's run, that's all been done, and we could do it. We're just gonna have to find some more space to put things.
Yeah, right. No, I mean it's great use of the space. You got tall ceilings, so you're even using it for storage of chairs, because I know that you do sometimes live performances in the live room that you need chairs for.
Yeah.
So Yeah. All right. So it's like the studio just keeps on giving because we're not even done yet because we have to show the fact that you guys have a house connected to
That's
this
right.
that bands can stay at.
That's
when
where
they're
it
here.
started, was the house.
I mean, it's the great thing about this place is that you did set it up for pretty much to be able to do whatever you want. And speaking of the 3-bedroom house that's attached to it, that is just such a huge selling point, I think, for this studio, to be able to have a place where a band can come and just be in residency here and just like do an entire album without having the distractions of sometimes some major city would offer. So that was one thing that really excited me about the project when we first started, was that, man, it's going to be a destination spot.
Yeah, and it's we wanted to be able to draw from out, not only Cincinnati but outside Cincinnati as well. So that was part of the plan.
Yeah.
The original idea that I had was this: after you go through this door with the glass, the entryway, that part originally existed at the side of the house. It was kind of a like a sunroom, breezeway sort of a room, and there was a door here that just led out into the yard. And I was going to get rid of this part, but the architect Jake had the idea of making this an entry, and you could turn right and go in the studio, and left and go into the house, which was a great idea.
No, Jake Miley from Made Architects, like, he's just awesome to work with because he comes up with these ideas, and you're just like, yes, that's what I was missing. So yeah, that's awesome. And so yeah, this is, I mean, it's such a comfortable living space, but the fact that it's right next to the studio and you can, like, anytime go down and record something.
And if you notice up here, we have microphone connections.
Yeah.
Where we can run in there. There's also in the rec room and a place upstairs, so we can record or play music from the studio anywhere we want.
Man, yeah, that I remember during the design process, you had the forethought to run these cables anywhere in the house that you could potentially want to record.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's amazing.
And this kitchen was completely redone because it was a mess.
I remember seeing it the first time I was here. Yeah. So, but it looks beautiful now. That's awesome.
There's a little living area. We can go back through that way.
Sure.
But we've got a rec room with a pool table, a TV on the wall that you can swing around.
Yeah.
Nice, comfortable space. We've got an old Victrola that actually works.
Nice.
And for whatever reason, we have a giant pillow under the pool table.
Why not?
And you'd be surprised how many people pull that out and play around with it.
I think it's actually just for the resonance that would happen in
Yeah,
that cavity.
right, yeah.
That's what my brain is
acoustic
thinking.
properties,
But
we don't wanna-
No, this is great to be able to hang out here when maybe it's not your time to record something.
Yeah.
You can kind of.
And these speakers can be, piped. We can pipe what's going on in the control room directly to these speakers. So you can even be in here hanging out, playing pool, and listening to the takes that are going on for the other band
Man,
members.
Yeah, we can hit the talk back button and say, "Hey Joe, we need you now," whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, how cool is that?
Yeah, so we thought about a lot of these little touches.
This is super awesome. And then so upstairs, you've also got living quarters, like bedrooms.
This is a little sitting area,
Yeah. This is nice.
and we have an upstairs area here.
Cool. Yeah, so
Bedroom here.
different bedrooms. Got a nice view out here.
Yeah.
It's super relaxing. I mean, it's just like if I was a band wanting to record somewhere and I wanted to focus on just the recordings, like this would be an awesome place.
Got another full bathroom here. There's laundry facilities in here. Couple twin beds here.
Yeah, very nice.
And then in here we've got a full bed and a pull-out couch.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you can have another person sleeping in here too.
Yeah.
Man, how cool is that?
It's incredible that, when you're used to having your studio in your basement or an extra room, and you get decent results, but when you're in an acoustic space that's designed for it, and some better microphones as well, It's amazing how much better the sound is.
After the first session, I'll tell a little story. Eric and I were here by ourselves after we had cleaned up, and we were kind of looking at each other like, we're gonna have this forever. That's kind of the bigger thing, right? And then the level to which everything was successful as far as the acoustics, the isolation, the aesthetics, everything came out so good, and everything's so functional that it's more than a dream come true, honestly.
I just want as many people to be in here recording as possible. I just want people to experience the space. I want people to be able to make music in here. I think sharing what we've all created together is the primary goal.
And I want a Grammy.
Well, thanks again for having us in for the tour. I mean, this place is beautiful. It's only an hour and a half from where I live, so maybe my band can come here and play.
Please.
Record a little bit someday.
Yes.
But thanks so much for having us. And what's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
So our website is legacysoundworks.com, or you can check us out on Instagram and Facebook at Legacy Soundworks. Just shoot us an email on there, and we'll get back to you.
That's awesome. Well, thanks again, guys. You built a beautiful space.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and
for
thanks
having
for all your help.
Yes.
Yeah.